Some people think that's really, really stupid to have that much debt. Mainly Uncle Dave Ramsey. He called this man out and said that he was a liar. So you owe the banks $25 million, which comes out to about how much per month?
About 30 now.
30 million. How much does that come out to per month?
Just the principal and interest, nothing else, is about $145,000 a month.
And then how much does that bring in as far as cash flow?
Gross cash flow is about $340,000 a month.
So Dave is insane. Like, why would that not be a good thing, right? If it's bringing in that much, it's covering all the debt. That's a beautiful thing.
I don't like people to speak in absolutes. This is the only way. And I say no debt is fine for certain people that can't understand money or certain people that are in bad debt. Like, that's fine, but like, it's not the only way. So if you want to scale, you have to learn to leverage. So there's so many benefits. The biggest benefits is the net worth. Right there, that's $20 million. And that's $20 million worth of net worth created from nothing. Equity that you can tap into, that you could refinance, which again, I did. You said I had $25 million. I added a couple more properties and projects, but then pulled out a couple million tax-free because it's debt, and debt is a tax. And most people don't make enough money to save enough money to live a good enough life and invest. Something gives, their life gives, and they live less of a lifestyle for a long time so they can save, or they live a good lifestyle and they can't save. That's just the world that we're in. The 1950s and 60s are gone. You're not going to get ahead unless you have an alternative investing strategy, which can include the infinite banking, which can include real estate. You just have to think of other things besides saving, IRA, 401k. Those are fine, but those are supplemental. Those can't be your main ship.
This is the Mr. Brrrr Show.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Today is going to be an exciting episode. You are going to learn a ton from a man that does a ton in the real estate space. You probably see his face all over the place. He's got 3 million followers across all platforms, owns over $50 million worth of real estate, and he's got a lot of debt in place with that real estate. And that is, some people think that's really, really stupid to have that much debt. Mainly Uncle Dave Ramsey. He called this man out and said that he was a liar. And incredible, because there's no such thing as bad publicity. If Dave Ramsey is calling you out, you're going to run with that, which this man did. And we're going to teach you guys how to use debt to actually make you money, which is not what Dave is talking about. He's talking about bad debt, which I agree, there is some bad debt out there. But this man taps into good debt. So without further ado, Sam Primm, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, how you doing, man? I love that. We were chatting before the show, and then as soon as the lights hit on, you turn into Devin radio voice, Devin podcast voice. I like it. That was awesome. You just transformed. You're like, boom, in the zone. I love it.
I got to, man. I gotta give people what they want, what they need.
Hell yeah.
So for the people that don't know you, which is probably very few and far between, give them kind of just a brief idea of who you are, how you got started in real estate.
Yeah, I like to kind of say that I'm as normal as it gets, which has its positives and its negatives. So I grew up super normal childhood, didn't grow up as an entrepreneur. My dad worked for Boeing for 40 years. My mom was a teacher, like insanely normal. And I thought that's what I was going to do. Having a normal childhood is one thing, but when that starts to trickle into having a normal adulthood is when I kind of took a step back and thought, I kind of maybe want more than what I'm getting, working a W-2 job, starting a family, and kind of going down that rigmarole that everybody goes down. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is extremely cliche, but accurate, kind of opened my mind up a little bit. So I decided, let's start investing in real estate on the side. So 2014-15, started investing in real estate on the side, got hooked, saw the possibilities, saw the potential of debt and leverage. And then by 2018, I quit my job, and then I went all in, and then been going all in real estate all day, every day, eat, drink, sleep it, all the things for about the past 6 years. So I've been able to, like you said, get to about $50 million in real estate, do social media, branding, things like that. Got about 1,800 students now in my program, which is pretty cool. And then, we also are pretty active in like the flipping and wholesaling. We do about 250 houses a year. So like I said, all real estate all day, every day, but it all started out with just understanding that I wanted more, and then starting to understand leverage, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah. I mean, leverage is an incredible thing. Like, you give somebody a long enough stick that's strong enough, you can lift a boulder up, right? But if you don't have that long, sturdy stick, you can't. So Oh, I love it. That'll never get old. I've been saying
Ever.
that since I was like 13, and that'll never get old. But yeah, dude, it's so true. Is like leverage is a very powerful thing if it's used correctly. So let's talk about that kind of how you did your first couple deals in real estate. What were they, and how did you do them?
Yeah, so I didn't know. I knew a little bit about leverage. Okay, so I watched that flipper flop shows on HGTV, that Torek El Musa guy, and a couple different people. And I remember just seeing a few episodes to where he would like go to his lawyer buddy and borrow the money to do the flip, and then split the profits with him. So I understood you could borrow money to flip, and I didn't have enough money to flip. I didn't even have enough money for a 20% down on anything. So I spent several months trying to find somebody with some extra money. Finally found someone who's willing to give me $100,000 to do a deal. And that's what we did. I bought the house for $77,000. It needed about $40,000 worth of work. Since he only gave me 100, I had to do a lot of the work myself, me and my business partner, Lucas. And we did, evenings, weekends. We were there all the time. Didn't have kiddos at the time. So we were able to only piss off our wives, not piss off our kids too. So we went ahead and did that and worked like crazy and got all in for right around $100,000. But while we were doing that, I visited a local meetup and spoke with somebody who was a future mentor, future business partner, and he told me about the refinance with the Brrrr method, which I think you know a little bit about. But I didn't know anything about it at the time. My plan was to take that profit and put 20% down on the rental. So my whole goal was rentals and still is. So I thought, all right, I'm going to flip a house, take the profit and put that 20% down on a rental. And I learned about the refinance method, which basically cut my work in half. If I bought the right property, I could just do the Brrrr method and refinance. So that's what I ended up doing on that one. And 5 or 6 more. The first, 7 or 8 deals were all single family Brrrr deals where I was able to, get in and out and none of my own money and cash flow $200 a month, all the cool stuff. I quickly realized I was going to have to do about 200 of these before I was able to quit my job. And after doing 7 or 8, I thought this is really fun. This is really cool, building wealth, but the active income's not there in order for me to quit my job. So that's when I probably took longer than most people. It took me about 1.5 2 years to figure, well, I need to do some flips and wholesales to get active income along with my passive income and passive wealth. So again, the first handful and a half were rentals and Brrrr deals that were great, but I didn't really add much to my active income. So then we started learning to flip and wholesale.
So if you could go back, would you do it different?
Probably. If my goal originally wasn't to quit my job, Devin, my goal was to buy one rental a house a year for 10 years. So my goal is to get 10 rentals. So, knowing that was my goal, I think it was fine. But once I figured out that I wanted to quit my job and actually make this a lifetime gig, that's, I would have gone to flipping and wholesaling a little bit sooner so I could quit that job sooner. Because I don't think it's responsible for anybody to live off their rental income anyway, let alone, like that have be your only income. So I quickly realized that getting that active income within real estate would require wholesaling and flipping. So yeah, I probably have done that a little bit sooner, but I mean, there's very few houses that we bought that cash flow that we didn't keep as rentals. So I don't know if I could have changed that, but we went pretty hard at it from day one.
That's amazing. Yet I always tell people, like, if you're getting into real estate, don't get into buying rentals first. Like, $200, to your point, per house is not going to change your life. You're going to need a whole bunch of those houses for it to really change your life. And that's a whole bunch of work, unless you have a property manager, which takes off of that $200, most likely, unless that was already penciled in. So get active income and use that active income to go buy your rentals, right? So it just took you a little longer to learn it, but I think you're doing all right now.
Yeah, I'm doing all right now. A little hard-headed, a little slow learner. I'm good with it. And I always kind of tell people, what do you want? Like, everybody's situation is different, right? There's this whole, my course used to be like my program used to be like a Brrrr's course, right? And now it's like, what do you need course? If you need active income, let's flip and wholesale. Some people make $200,000 a year and they want to work until they're 60 and they like their job. They're just trying to buy 25 rentals over the next 10 years to retire earlier. Well, then you do get into rentals right away if your goal is not active income. So I always tell people, what's your current cash position? What are your long-term goals? If you need cash now, no matter what your long-term goals, flip and wholesale. If you don't need cash now and your long-term goals are to own rentals, then maybe start buying rentals. Of course, mix in flips and wholesales because not every property cash flows. So that's kind of how I delineate it these days.
Cool. Yeah, if that resonates with you guys, we'll get a link and put it up here on the screen so you guys can link up with Sam and his team and potentially be the 1801st student. So that way you can just learn from this man and do what he's done, or try to get close to it, or maybe better than it. Who knows, right? That's always the goal, is when you have a student, you want them to eventually become the teacher.
Yeah.
Then you know you taught them really freaking well.
Yeah, and for sure. And I appreciate that plug for sure. I would tell anybody, if they don't know anything about me or who I am, just follow me on social media. I have a podcast, going to have Devin on here one of these days as well. But just see what you see on social media, poke around a little bit, and then if you have interest, for sure. Because I always say I can teach you so much online, but there's only so many avenues to do it. And I do the best that I can, and that's why I have 3 million followers. It's definitely not my looks. It's definitely not how I articulate. I mumble and talk too fast. It's just I actually do it. And I think you probably know now, Devin, you're in the space big enough that it is kind of an icky space. There are so many gurus in this space that I know, and you know their names, and I know now that they bought their followers, or they buy likes, or their podcast ranks really high because they pay a marketing company to get 15-second views so they rank high even though they're not getting real views. I know that because I've had people approach me saying, these are my clients. Do you want me to buy you likes, buy you shares, buy you follows, buy you podcast listens? And I say no. That's why I have videos on Instagram that get 300 likes in the first hour, and some that get 20 likes in the first hour. If you see somebody 800 likes consistently in the first 10 minutes, they're buying them. So anyways, I went a little tangent there, but I see it more and more the more I get into the space, the more I meet these people, and they're not bad people. But just be careful who you listen and who you follow, whether you're paying for a mentorship or not. I always say, are they doing it? Are they doing it well? Are they doing it at volume? And what they're doing transferable to you? There's certain people that do incredible things, but not everybody else can do that, right? So anyways, went a little bit tangent there. I just have been thinking about it recently because I've seen a couple people that everybody knows that is not as what they see.
Yeah, perception's reality, man. I think that's why I've always kind of resonated with you, because we kind of started in the whole social media space around the same time on TikTok. Mm-hmm. And I've never paid for any marketing. I've always done organic, and it's a lot harder now. So now I'm at the point where I'm like, maybe I should start paying for some ads, because, dude, I've never again paid for any followers, any ads. It's just put out a video that's geared on helping people, and I've been able to get a bunch of business from it. It's not like that anymore, right? Like, social media has changed a bit. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, social media has changed a lot, and I've spent a lot of time on. I mean, we both started at that early I started, I think, TikTok in like summer, July, August of 2020. So going on almost exactly 4 years now. And yeah, it used to be pretty easy to get views and followers and virality and all that stuff. TikTok was the first platform to switch from creator focus to content focus. It used to be you needed followers to get views, and then TikTok completely flipped the switch, and everybody else has followed suit now. You don't have to have followers to get views. It's all about the content and virality of what you do, which I think was cool, but then there's no connection. You see one video from me that goes viral, and then you don't see another video unless it goes viral from me. That's how it was for a while. So there was no connection. And I think people want that connection. And I think we're pretty far down the line of, you have all these people, you see all these videos, but scroll through your TikTok feed. Most likely you're not following that many people that you see, and you've never seen the people's videos before. So we just did our podcast, and there's 24 million videos uploaded to TikTok a day. So it's just one of those things where, like you said, it's changed. There's not as much connectivity as there used to be. And then we're not going to go too deep into this, but like right now with the politics and the lack of trust, nobody trusts the government, nobody trusts the media right now more than I've ever seen, and for good reason. So it kind of all blends over to people not trusting gurus or people in social media, because everything they see on their phone or their TV is media, politics. They don't trust them, and then we get lumped into that. So anyways, it's an interesting time we're in right now. I used to get probably 20 to 25 million views a month on social media, and I don't feel like my content's changed, and I'm probably half of that. So it's just tricky. I put some time and effort into content, and I'm getting, it's fine, but 15, 20, 30,000 views when I used to get triple that. So it just is what it is, but just roll with the punches. And I would agree. I think throwing some marketing in is good. I do that now. I don't pay for views, but I have like ads that I place that I put out. So that's kind of what I've had to shift to as well.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about that because I want to know how to do it. Like, what kind of ads? Is it Facebook ads, Google ads? What are you doing?
So right now I'm just doing Meta right now. Yeah. So Facebook, Instagram, it's pretty easy. Facebook. So I've hired firms to do it, but now we're doing it in-house. It's one of those things where depending on what you're selling and what you're pushing or what you're promoting, it kind of is going to dictate how much success you're going to have. So I'm proud of it, but my mentorship's $8,500. So somebody sees an ad and schedules a call with my team, they're probably not going to spend $8,500, right? So you need to warm them up. You need that organic. You need to figure out how to warm them up to be comfortable spending that amount of money. Because I used to shy away from the fact that I had a mentorship because it's like, oh, it's selling something. That's why I was putting content. But then I see the success, and there's 250 million owned by my 1,800 students, and there's successes, people quitting their jobs. And so like I'm proud of it now. And it took me about a year to see the results before I could be proud of it. So I think it just for you, it depends on exactly what your end game is. But just seeing a 30-second ad is not going to convince many people to do anything. So you just got to be careful how you bring them in the gradient. So we do ads to a training, and then they can book a call. So they're a little more warmed up, but the booking the call is completely optional. They can see an ad. I can pay for them to watch a free training. Well, if they're not booking a call that they weren't convinced enough, that's fine. I'm good with it. I only want people that want it anyway. So,
Dude, that might be super easy to add into what I'm doing already. Because all I do right now and what I've been doing is, again, organic, put up a video that leads them into a funnel where they register for a training video. That video is an hour long. At the end, they can schedule a call. They have to watch the whole video. So now they're kind of bought into it. They can schedule a call with my team. And yeah, dude, just paying for that, more people to come into the funnel makes sense to watch that video.
Yeah, for sure. It's the only thing that's honestly scalable, right? We have pretty big social media followings compared to some. Obviously, there's people that smash us, but there's only so much you can scale. So if your plan is to scale and grow, then yeah, I mean, there's unlimited paid traffic and people you can bring in, and that's it. Where I'm looking to grow and growing like crazy. But I have been hearing from some vets the past that have been in the space for a long time. They told me the old Mexican Fisher story recently on a mastermind call. Do you know that story?
No.
So this is about growing and scaling and how big do you really want to be? So I'll be quick. I feel like this is a cool story. So it's obviously like not a real story, but so there was a stockbroker that went on vacation down to Mexico, and he got this gentleman that does fishing charters, and he tried to book a fishing charter with the guy, and he's like, I only do fishing charters in the morning. So they went on this fishing charter, and the guy's like, what do you do in the afternoon? And he's like, well, I take a nap with my wife, and I play guitar and drink tequila in the evening with my friends. And the stockbroker's like, well, what you need to do is you need to take out a loan, buy another boat, hire somebody, buy another boat with those proceeds, take all your credit and buy several boats and build a fleet, hire somebody to run the company, and then you'll make it big. And then you can take the afternoons off, have a nap with your wife, and play guitar tequila with your friends. And the fisherman's like, you know what I mean? I already do that. Like, I don't have to grow to be bigger. So anyways, it was just an interesting parable of like, what do you want? Do you want to be bigger? Great. Well, do you want to be bigger to have more time? Do you already have that? So anyways, that's what I've been not struggling with, but we've grown so much and done so much that it's like, yes, I want to help and impact people, and I enjoy that side of it. But like, how big do you really want to get if you already have what you want? I feel like people get in trouble when they try to get happier than happy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So anyways, I thought it was just an interesting parable, interesting story of like, you do all this work to get where you're already at. Like, how much more freedom do you want?
Dude, I like that because that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, I want to scale. So part of me wants to scale, but I know to scale, I have to take time away from my family. And right now, I don't have much time away from my family because I don't have to work a ton. I've built things to where it's very passive, like extremely passive. So it's like, what do you really want? It's finding that out. And that's so true, man. It's so true. And it all goes back to like the whole following, right? Like you and I have decent followings, but someone like LeBron James has like 260 million followers on Instagram. It's like we're just little. So to scale, you have to do something because not everyone knows our name like they know LeBron. Which, by the way, he's the GOAT. Michael Jordan's not.
Yeah, but you got it. You know that, right? Yeah, Michael Jordan is incredible. He's so good. He's the second best basketball player ever. That's very impressive for Michael Jordan. So good for you. Your shoes are goated, as you see behind me, and I have on a pair as well. I see you got. I got the ones, but I agree with that for sure. All of that. I think it's one of those things where you just gotta realize what do you want. And the call I was on that I was told that parable was with like a gentleman named Eddie Speed. He's been in the the space for 44 years. Lee Arnold, Scott Myers, these people that have been in the info marketing is what they call it, but basically the mentorship space for 20, 30, 40 years. And they're all like, everybody wants to be bigger, better, and it's an ego thing, and we're alpha, and we're driven, and we're A-type, but like, do you really need more? So anyways, it's an interesting conversation because that's, up until recently, I'm always like, I just want to grow. That's all I care about. I want to grow. Obviously, you don't grow and make more money without providing value. So it's not like I'm providing value to a certain degree, but yeah, growing and seeing how big you want to get is something I'm looking at right now.
I love it. Dude, I saw a video about you saying that Michael Jordan was not the GOAT. I made one as well. And it's so funny. Like some things are just going to get traction. Like if you, like I put up the beginning of that video I was like, Michael Jordan is not the GOAT. That was the hook. Mm-hmm. So everyone who thinks, oh yeah, everyone that thinks Michael Jordan is the GOAT is like, what the hell? And then everyone that thinks that LeBron's the GOAT is like, yeah, I want to listen to what this guy says because he's smart. I look through some of the comments. Do you do this sometimes and just laugh at the comments you get? Like one of the comments, because they saw the shoes in the background, they were like, well, why do you have Jordan's shoes on your wall and not LeBron's? And I'm like, the shoes have nothing to do with who's a better basketball player. Just that I like Jordan's shoes more than LeBron's does not mean that LeBron is a worse basketball player than Jordan. It just makes people's comments are hilarious, man. When I see them, I crack up sometimes.
Yeah, and that specific topic, I mean, I swear I get more hate and more unfollows from saying LeBron is the best basketball player. And I'm not even saying Michael sucks. That's the thing is the Michael lovers say LeBron sucks. They don't say he's good. They don't say he's like second best. They're like, he's not even close. And it's like,
LeBum,
yeah. It's like, well, and I got a buddy, Lucas, my business partner, and he likes Michael better, but he's like, LeBron's incredible. He's like the second or third, like he's like reasonable about it. I think Michael's incredible too, but just the hate and the unfollows and the messages I get when I say that is hilarious. I swear I could say Jesus isn't real and I would get less hate than saying Michael's number two. It's insane how much that strikes a chord with people because I think it's a lot of it's insecure ego alpha people that LeBron is more alpha potentially, I guess, or Jordan's potentially more alpha, punching teammates, all this crazy stuff. So that's like their like insecurity of being alpha. So I think that's part of it is a lot of the people I notice that like think LeBron sucks and love Michael are like pretend alphas. So who knows?
And dude, we could have like a whole podcast just about this topic, but we won't stay on it long. But one thing that I always go back to is people will not actually appreciate how great LeBron is until he's no longer playing. I think people don't really realize what is going on with this man right now. He came in the league in 2003. He's been in the league for 21 years. He's playing in Paris right now in the Olympics, and he's the best player on the team. In year 21, Jordan at this age could barely dunk.
Correct.
Like LeBron is still the best player on the Olympic team that has Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards. Like it's crazy to me.
Yeah, no, it is. And KD, who's got some buckets the other night, but LeBron's still defense, rebounding, passing, vision, court, leadership, all the things. LeBron is, there's never going to be anything like it again. And you could say things about Jordan, but the longevity has a part in it to me. Jordan played 15 years. He didn't win 15 championships. So my whole thing is LeBron carries worse teams further than Jordan. And we can get off on this stat. You can give your last stat, but the biggest thing to me is I said it in that video you're referencing, but in 94, the Bulls with Jordan, 93, 94 season, whatever, won like 57 games. Jordan quit, which again is whatever reason you said he couldn't mentally handle it. He quit and they won 55 games. So without the best player ever, they won 2 less games. When LeBron left the Cavaliers the first time, they won 61 games. The next year when he left, they won 17.
So they were a lottery team.
The impact that LeBron has in part of being an impactful basketball player is making the players around you better, rebounding, passing, leadership, all those things. I get Jordan was a killer, one-on-one defense, one-on-one shooting, mid-range, but I just can't look past the fact that they won 2 less games without him. And without Pippen and Phil Jackson, LeBron never had, or couldn't mix them up. Without Phil Jackson and Pippen, Jordan never had a season over 500 and never made it out of the first round. So
yeah, he was getting swept in the first round.
Yep, every time getting swept. And LeBron never got swept in the first round, and I get he doesn't win the finals every time is because he's got freaking.
He's going against KD on a team.
And freaking Matthew Dellavedova as his top 2 players because, Kevin Love and Kyrie were hurt for half the times he had brought them. So, yeah, it is an interesting argument. That's fun.
Dude, I couldn't agree more, man. Jordan had arguably the greatest coach of all time.
I think
LeBron.
Yeah, I agree.
LeBron has never had a coach to that caliber. Jordan had the best Robin of all time, Scottie Pippen. Which realistically, if you look at the stats, Scottie did more for the team than Jordan did. He led the team in steals, rebounds, assists. Jordan just led in points. Neither here nor there. And arguably the best rebounder of all time, Dennis Rodman. Arguably the best supporting cast of all time. Like think about Steve Kerr, John Paxson, like just everyone knew their roles. And that's why they only lost 2 fewer games or 2 more games than when Jordan was there. LeBron leaves Cleveland first time, they're a lottery team. He leaves Miami in 2014, they don't make the playoffs. He leaves Cleveland to go to LA, they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's one of those things where the impact he has and I love the stat of LeBron's played with 23 All-Stars and Jordan played with 8 or whatever. Well, it's because he's played on different teams. LeBron didn't have 23 All-Stars on the same team. You know what I mean? The amount of All-Stars you have per season is the same or not better for Jordan. They just didn't move teams. And I almost guarantee you Jordan would have. It's a product of the generation. Jordan would have been on social media. He would have been clapping at people. He would have been doing all the stuff that LeBron's doing. LeBron's just a product of the generation he's from. Jordan wouldn't have been the one guy that doesn't flop. Jordan would have 100% flops. Everybody in the league flops. I don't love that LeBron does it a little more aggressively than most, but Jordan would have too. And then my favorite is LeBron couldn't handle Jordan's error, even though he's 6'8", 270 pounds. He would have been pushed around my ass.
Oh, he would dominate. That's the thing. Jordan would dominate in this era. And LeBron would dominate in that era. Like there's a few players, probably those 2 and Kobe, you could put them in any era and they're going to dominate. Like you can't say that about players like back in the day that dominated in their area. Like let's talk about, rest in peace, but Bill Russell, he's not dominating in this era. It's not going to happen, right?
11 championships too, right? So if he's championship card, yeah.
But he's the GOAT then, right? He has to be the GOAT.
Well, my favorite thing is 6 for 6 as if your only argument is 6 for 6, go somewhere else and, eat your boogers and lick your windows somewhere else. But 6 for 6 isn't a good enough argument.
Yeah,
like,
John,
I feel like 6 for 6. I feel like you think wrestling's real too, like WWE.
Have you seen the thing about John Havlicek? That he should be the GOAT? Because he's John Havlicek, look it up. There was a meme that went around. It's like he should be the GOAT, right? Because he had like 28,000 points. Jordan has like 32, I think. John Havlicek was 8-0 in the finals. Almost as I think more assists, more rebounds, less steals. So Havlicek should be the GOAT, right? If you're going off that, he was 8-0. Yeah. So it's just funny, man. But Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to go down a tangent of like who's the GOAT, but I know that
Chop that up and we'll get views. Get that chopped up. We'll get views from you. We'll get hate. I'll get unfollows. That's all right.
True. Cool, man. Let's get to Dave Ramsey. Good old Uncle Dave, right? So talk about how Dave called you out on a video. I think it was a video with like your baby on your lap or something, right?
Yeah. So I was actually on vacation in Mexico, and somebody texted me, and I was doing the whole drinking, hanging out, going up in the pool and stuff. And I went back in my room and got ready for dinner, and I checked my phone, and they're like, Dave Ramsey just talked about you on his show. And they sent me like the YouTube video, because it was like his long show. It's like, scroll the 6-minute mark or whatever. So I did, and there you go. I wish he would have said my name. He didn't, but he called me out. He was like, that there's liars on the internet. Like this guy that says he's in $25 million worth of debt. Yeah, I saw that video. He had a baby on his hip. So it's obvious, everybody knows seen that video, or me knows it's me talking about, but he's like, he's a liar. He's not $25 million worth of debt. It doesn't take a FBI trained detective to know he's lying. It's just what they put on the internet. That's why we post on social media, to get rid of all that filth and that lying. And so anyways, he went pretty hard at me, which was awesome, because it allowed me to kind of go back at him and not look like I was, pulling at his strings to try to get his attention. No, he punched down at me, because his brand is 1,500 times bigger than mine, immeasurably bigger than mine. So punching down is never a good thing. So he allowed me to punch up. So it was just kind of a fun thing. I've created like 2 or 3 videos on it and went back to it a couple of times, and people like, why are you keep going at Dave? Well, A, I don't go at it more than anybody else. And B, he called me a liar. He rarely does that. So I reached out to his team, and obviously on Instagram, somebody on his team as well as him, and never heard anything back. I would love to be on his show, but that doesn't work, because if I put any chink in Dave's no debt armor, that is not good for his brand. So anyways, it was a fun, cool thing. It's been about 1.5 years now, but it was pretty fun.
Dude, I would love if Dave called me out. Like, Dave does not believe in, he thinks infinite banking is a scam. And that's kind of my main business, is teaching people how to become the bank in their own life. And he just doesn't understand it. Like, I've heard him go off on his tangents, and he just literally does not understand how it works. So I would love to be on his show and literally just like poke a hole in everything he's saying. But then to your point, they wouldn't allow that, right? So
I would do it respectfully. Can you cuss on this?
Sure.
All right. Just a story, because like you said, you love for him to be on the show or have him call you out. So the first time I met Pace Morby was at like an event. We had talked on social media, but I never really met him in person. And I was talking to someone, and he came up behind me. He said, all I want for fucking Christmas is for Dave Ramsey to call me a liar on his show, and then walked away. So, because everybody wanted that, that publicity side. So anyways, it was a fun thing. It's cool that he's gone now, and I poke him every once in a while just because I disagree with how he teaches. And I don't like people to speak in absolutes, that this is the only way. And I say no debt is fine for certain people that can't understand money, or certain people that are in bad debt. Like, that's fine, but like, it's not the only way.
Right. Dude, I love Pace. Pace is the homie. He's going to be on the show next month. And so when you schedule for the show, you saw like there's certain questions that just you put in. So I have kind of some things to go off of. I don't really need that with Pace, just because I know Pace. I knew him before he like blew up out here in Phoenix. And it's one of the questions is, what's like the biggest setback, right? And he put having a hairy butt.
That's not right.
And then it's like, what's the ultimate goal? That's another question I put in there. And he put shaving my hairy butt. That's just Pace. That's just Pace, man. He's hilarious. But yeah, let's talk about like the debt piece. So you've got $25 million worth of debt. So you owe the banks $25 million, which comes out to about how much per month?
About
30 million.
Yeah. So
How much does that come out to per month?
And added more. It's about just the principal and interest. So nothing else is about 145,000 a month.
Okay. And then how much does that bring in as far as cash flow?
Gross cash flow is about 340,000 a month.
Okay. So Dave is insane. Like, why would that not be a good thing, right? If it's bringing in that much, it's covering all the debt. That's a beautiful thing. And then talk about kind of the different benefits besides just the cash flow, because there's huge benefits to owning that much real estate.
Yeah, I think there's so many facets to that. So like, I get the numbers can be scary, but just take off the zeros. Would you borrow, $30 from somebody to own something that's worth $50? You just created $20 from nothing. Here, give me 30. I'm buying something worth 50. I just made $20. I didn't do anything. So that's kind of the concept. I know the zeros scare people, but when it comes to real estate, it's good debt. So there, like I did do this video. I probably need to do one. I do them like once a month. Sometimes they hit, sometimes I don't. But then I'm $30 million worth of debt. It costs me $145,000 a month, but it brings in $340,000 a month. That allows me to own real estate worth $50 million. So the cash flow is like the least sexy part. Like, if you told me you own $50 million worth of real estate and I didn't know anything about real estate, I would say you probably make $100,000 a month. I probably make $30,000 a month, some months less, but it's not about that. It's about, because when you buy real estate using none of your own money, which is what we're doing here, something has to give. There's not like a hack to do everything. It's cash flow. It's not quite there. If I put 30% down cash on all my real estate, I would probably be cash flowing $100,000 a month, right? But I don't, because I don't have enough money, or didn't, and still don't have enough money to buy at scale in cash like that. So if you want to scale, you have to learn to leverage. So there's so many benefits. The biggest benefits is the net worth. Like, just in right there, that's 20 million. And that's $20 million worth of net worth created from nothing. Equity that you can tap into, that you could refinance, which again, I did. You said I had 25 million. I added a couple more properties and projects, but then pulled out a couple million tax-free because it's debt, and debt isn't tax. And then you get the tax savings of owning that real estate. Like, I do pretty well for myself, probably better than some people think, probably worse than some people think. It doesn't really matter, but I don't pay any money in taxes because I have the real estate assets to back them up, and I get depreciation, and I haven't even done cost seg, and I still have that to tap into. So there's so many benefits to going to owning real estate. Like, if I stop buying real estate today, I'm 36. I own 50 million real estate. If I stop buying real estate today, by the time I was 50, it'd be worth 100 million. And the $30 million worth of debt would probably be paid down to about 10 million. So I would legitimately have $90 million worth of equity by letting real estate do what it does, which is increase in value. And then the principal, mortgage, owning expenses are paid by somebody else. And sometimes there's a lot of cash flow left over. Sometimes there's not. But regardless, that's my net worth. I would literally be able to sell that for $100 million and, pocket 90. So that's the beautiful thing, is you're latching on to the number one asset, real estate, that goes up in value, that has tax benefits, that depreciates, that does all the things, and you don't use any of your own money to do it. You can't, or shouldn't, buy stocks without using any of your own money on margin. So anyways, it's just a unique strategy, or a unique way to get into the best wealth building tool, which is real estate.
Dude, I agree 150 million %, because guys, think about what he's doing. He's buying real estate with none of his own money. So to his point, if he used his own money, paid down balances by doing a bigger down payment, his cash flow would be higher, but his rate of return would be less, his cash on cash return. So what that means, if you guys are not familiar, basically you put $1 in, how much does it get back out? If he's putting $0 in, even if he gets $1 back out, he has an infinite return. Infinite return. And most people rant and rave, like I know Dave rants and raves about, just put your money in a mutual fund, it'll make you 12% a year, which is not at all accurate, because it's not taking into account for the drops. If you lose 50%, you got to make 100% just to get back to where you were at. So 12% though is amazing in most people's eyes. Sam is making an infinite return. Think about that.
And you didn't even talk about the money you're putting into the mutual fund at 12% is getting hacked by inflation at 4 or 5% right now. So even if it is 12%, it's not. It's 7%. And everybody knows inflation's more than the 3 or 4% they put out there. I mean, I saw a video the other day. You might have seen this one circulating around of that guy who ordered his groceries from Walmart. Did you see this video in 2022? He ordered his groceries from Walmart in 2022, all right? And it was $130 or something. And I don't know if this guy's real or not legit. I mean, he looks fine. It looked like there was Walmart screen behind him. So $130 in groceries. And then he got back on the app, just recently. And there was the reorder now button. So like you reorder all the exact same stuff or like kind stuff that should be somewhat similar price. $430 for the exact same stuff. And that was in 2 years. That was from 2022 to 2024, 130 to 430. So that just shows you what this money you're putting in your mutual fund, all the money you're making, when you pull it out in 20 years, 10 years, 30 years, it's not going to buy near what you think. Because does anybody in here reasonably think that the U.S. is ever going to stop printing money? No. So the fact the U.S. is going to print more money, that directly means what you can buy with the money you have is going to go down every single year. So that's why you can't buy a car for what you used to be. That's why you can't buy a house for what you used to buy. That's why you can't buy shoes and clothes because of inflation, which is forced by them printing money. So it's like this whole thing that's happening. We can't control it. It's not our fault, but it is our problem. So thinking that you're going to be able to shell money aside and thinking that you're going to be able to save your way by saving something that loses value every day, so your returns are probably cut in half, it's just not a realistic way to do things, especially when you have to, most people don't make enough money to save enough money to live a good enough life and invest. Something gives, their life gives, and they live less of a lifestyle for a long time so they can save, or they live a good lifestyle and can't save. That's just the world that we're in. The 1950s and 60s are gone. You're not going to get ahead unless you have an alternative investing strategy, which can include the infinite banking, which can include real estate. You just have to think of other things besides saving, IRA, 401k. Those are fine, but those are supplemental. Those can't be your main ship.
Yeah, dude. And you think about it, you started off with this. It's like you're just a normal dude. You grew up with a normal life. Like I'm the same. I grew up in like a lower middle class family.
Me too.
Nothing crazy. Like we weren't super poor. We definitely weren't rich. My dad, the most he ever made was like 80 grand in a year. Mom, most she ever made, I think, was like 25. So we could afford to have clothes on our back, and I could have a pair of shoes a year, one pair of shoes. That's why I get so many now, because I can afford to buy them. I couldn't have them when I was a kid. But like, if we can do this, if we can build wealth, anyone can do it. You just have to start doing things differently than 99% of America. Because 99% of America, guess what they're doing? They're trying to pay their debt off instead of using debt to go make more money. That's what you should do. If you have a credit card and you use it, let's say $2,500 to go do a wholesale deal, that's your earnest money deposit. I'm just giving a simple example. If that can make you a $10,000 assignment fee, you just paid off your $2,500 credit card. You've got the difference. You used debt to go make $7,500. That's very smart. People just don't do it.
Well, all wealthy people, and I'm sure you've done the same thing. I've met billionaires and I've met these kind of people, and I'm not a huge like networker. I don't go to all these events, and Wealth kind of Rise has been trying to get me talk at that for about a year now. I don't do a lot of events. I don't like the schmooziness and all that kind of stuff. And I'm in the Midwest anyway, and I don't have all these influencers around me. So I kind of am forging my own way. But all the wealthy people I've been fortunate enough to meet that I could have met more, they all use debt. Nobody does it on their own. Zuckerberg, I know it's a big example, but he created Facebook in his room, in his dorm room, and couldn't do more because he needed money. He needed angel investment from Peter Thiel, which he got. And he used that to make Facebook more monetizable, more coders, more software engineers, more everything. Bezos, everybody you know borrowed money at some point to get where they're at. And usually the wealthiest people I know, they borrow money to grow their wealth, and then they use the cash flow and they just spend it on living an incredible life. We're only here one time. Might as well enjoy it. Now, that's my other biggest issue with Dave's line of thinking is eat bologna sandwiches, sleep on cardboard, save your money, and 80% of your life you're pinching pennies and you're not enjoying it. Life's not about money, but it's about experiences and doing what you want, when you want, with who you want. And fortunately or unfortunately, money's required to do that. So in order to live that life, use debt to grow your wealth, and then the cash flow it spits out, or the cash flow from your job, spend it. Enjoy life. Have fun. Have experiences. Stop waiting to enjoy your life to only enjoy it when you're too old to actually enjoy it. So there's a lot that goes into that, but there's a path for anybody on here to do it. Now, it's going to be different than your path, Devin. It's going to be different than mine, but there's a path for everybody to get ahead and create some form of financial independence. It may not be freedom, but some form of financial independence. And leverage and debt are usually the quickest way to do that. It's just the way of the world now. There's no really other way to do it with the financial constraints that we're given.
I agree. And I want everyone to really maybe rewind and listen to that again, because what Sam is saying is using debt is very, very smart, but it's scary. A lot of people think when they think of debt, they think of a payment, right? They don't want to have another payment. So what Dave teaches and what a lot of people think is, you know what? I don't want to do that. I'll pay with things with cash, right? I'll pay for a car with cash. I'll pay for everything cash instead of financing it. What people have to realize, and I know you agree with this, is you finance everything in your life. You're either going to borrow money and pay interest to somebody else, or you're going to pay with your cash and you're going to give up the interest that this cash could have made you. It's called lost opportunity cost. So if I go buy a car with cash, let's say it's a $50,000 car, that $50,000 can never make me money ever again for the rest of my life. Ever. But I got the car, right? So people's mindsets need to change around debt is a very good thing if used correctly. If you go take a credit card, right? So I got this credit card here. This is my business
Let me see the number on it. Let me see the number. I'm just kidding.
It's on the back. So, but dude, this card I use for a lot of stuff because I get flyer miles. I use this for a lot of stuff in my business. This card, if I took this and just bought a bunch of dumb stuff like a Louis Vuitton belt or a new watch or whatever, that's stupid. That's very, very dumb because that stuff is not going to make me money, right? But if I take this and go put it into, let's say, like some ads like we talked about earlier, and those ads make me more than what I spent, that is good debt. Very good debt, right? People's mindsets need to change. It's
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the thing they don't take into consideration, and this was how my dad was able to retire, not for making a ton of money, is just you do everything yourself, and you're trading time for money. You're trading time. You're paying. You're mowing the grass. You're spending every waking hour working and doing something to not pay somebody to do it, but you're losing that time, and time can't be regenerated. Money can, through debt, through hiring things out, through investments. Like, you can make more money, but you can't make more time. So many people have it backwards. They pay for things, and then they spend it with their time, as opposed to you can use your time at pay for things. So people do the exact, I don't think I said that exactly right, but I think you know what you're saying. People too often don't calculate the fact that they're spending all this time and energy and saving and doing, and that's a cost too. There is a bigger cost to spending your time than spending money, and so many people don't look at it that way.
Time's your biggest asset, man. We can never get the time back. You can make more money. You cannot make more time.
Correct.
We all have an expiration date, and I think a lot of us forget that. We think we're going to live forever. I think the older I'm getting, I'm about to be 40, which is crazy. Can't believe I'm going to be 40. But I used to think 40-year-olds were like old, right? And now I'm like 6 months away from being 40. I'm like, I don't feel old. I don't feel like I look old. I'm about to be 40. It's just weird. But the older I get, I start realizing like this runway of life is going to end at some point. And that's why I'm so big on infinite banking, dude. I've got 15 life insurance policies. 15. I use the cash value in them as a banking system. The money goes there. It's guaranteed to grow, tax-free. Then I use it. I take a loan against it. So tax-free. Loans are tax-free. I use debt to go get assets that bring me in more to pay this debt down and keep the surplus. All while I have a death benefit tied to it. I'm gonna die someday. When I die, all that death benefit is paid to my heirs tax-free. So, dude, like we could go on forever about debt. I think it's super smart if you do it correctly.
And life insurance policies are like an extra secret hack. It's like a next level. The only not issue is the only thing with them is I have like 5 or 6, probably not 15, but in order to do them, at least how I do them, you do have to put money into them. You know what I mean? You have to put a decent amount of money to have it. You know, you put a whole life policy at $100 a month isn't gonna add up to a ton. So you have to make enough to throw in there, but you can do that with wholesaling, flipping, or your job. That if you make enough, it's kind of, what do they call it? The rich means something, like whole life policies are life insurance policies done the right way are a huge benefit, which I know is your calling card, which is super smart, especially for those that can put $1,500, $1,000, $2-3 grand a month away and do it. It'll add up, and then you're able to borrow against it, still make money, basically borrow for free, loan it out. You can do so many different things with it. So,
yep. What I always tell people too is it's always a mindset shift for people. People think like, I can't put that much in it. But let's just say easy math. Let's say someone makes $100,000 a year, right? After taxes, they're probably bringing home like what, 70? Can we agree on that? Mm-hmm. So if they're bringing home 70 from their job, where is that money going? To the bank. It goes to the bank. It flows to the bank, and then they pay all their bills and whatnot. With infinite banking, all you're doing is changing where that flows. You're flowing 70 grand a year towards the bank that's not protected against lawsuits and judgments, that grows at 0.06%. You're just changing where it flows to into a policy that grows at about 4 to 5% tax-free, way better. It's protected against lawsuits and judgments, so no one can take it. And then you're using it on everything you'd use in your life, and you just come up with a payment plan to pay yourself back. So you're getting all the money back. You're never losing control of the money for your entire life. And then when you die, which we're guaranteed to die, but who knows? AI might have us live forever. Who knows? But when we die, the death benefit makes your family wealthier. The Rockefellers have done this for generations, and they do it. Why doesn't everybody else? I don't understand it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. And getting into that space, learning about this and learning about family offices and all the private equity spaces blown up in the past several years. Yeah, it's wild. Like, don't try to recreate the wheel. Just do what the wealthy people do at the scale that you can do it at.
100%. Cool, dude. So we got to wrap it up. Before we do, a couple things. Where can people follow you at if they're not following you already?
Follow me. Whatever social media platform you're on, I'm probably on. I spend a lot of time on social media to grow the brand and to help people. So it's either Sam Primm, they'll probably pop up, Sam Faster Freedom or Faster Freedom. So my name is Sam Primm. The brand that I started is Faster Freedom. So I kind of sometimes combine the two. So Sam Faster Freedom or Sam Primm should get you the right one. And make sure you're, as you know, I'm sure you have them too, make sure you're clicking the one with the blue check mark. There's over 1,000 fake accounts on TikTok. There's probably 5,000 fake accounts of me and you on social media. So I don't have multiple accounts on multiple platforms. Follow the freaking one with the blue check mark and don't get scammed out of money. About once a week, somebody texts me, said they got scammed, or messaged me, said they got scammed out of money. So I can't do anything else besides have a blue check mark. So,
dude, I get the same thing. I feel so bad for people, but it's like, when do I ever talk about crypto? I've never talked about crypto. So if I'm messaging you about crypto, it's probably not me.
So stop talking about crypto, because I have 4 or 5 Bitcoin and 25, 30 Ethereum. I invest in it as like a hedge, but I don't talk about it specifically because of that. I used to talk about it a little bit, and then so I just stopped talking about it strictly to try to help people not get scammed, but they still do.
Yeah. So cool. Follow Sam on all the things. And then what do you want to leave for the listeners? Like one last thing, maybe if you could go back and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell that kid, or what would you tell the rest of the listeners?
The biggest thing I would say that I've noticed a lot of people that stops them is their fear of failure. And having that fear of failure is so big and so prevalent, and it's so real, and it's such the society we live in. And having the expectation would have helped me, and hopefully it helps at least one person listening. Just expect to fail and understand that it's a part of the process. There is literally no path for you to walk that leads to success that doesn't involve failure. Not one. There's not one way you're going to be successful if you don't fail. So most people don't know that, and they avoid failure. And unknowingly, they're avoiding success, because it is literally one of the steps, and multiple steps you have to take, is to fail. You will not be successful unless you fail. There is no way around it. I wish there was. So I think just the biggest thing I would tell people is, I'm not saying seek out failure. Just know that it's going to happen. Be okay with it. And if you get up, you're not failing, you're learning. When I got math problems wrong in high school, I didn't fail. I just got the problem wrong, and I learned and got it right the next time. So just reframing fear and failure, I think can help a lot of people, because if you really want to be successful, you just have to be okay with it, expect it, learn from it, and move on, as opposed to avoiding it. And you're literally avoiding success. And that's just the way it is.
Wow, dude, super powerful. So yeah, guys, fail early, fail often, fail your way to success. At the end of the day, if you are seeking failure, it means you're seeking to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And I would argue with anybody that the greatest things in life are on the other side of your comfort zone. Like, get out of your comfort zone and you will do amazing things. So I couldn't agree more. Dude, I appreciate your time, appreciate you being on and pouring into my audience. So guys, if you're not following me on YouTube, shame on you. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so that you get notified when I put out these videos. I put out videos, I put out the podcast. Like the podcast, throw your comments in it. I will get back to all of them. I always do. Follow Sam. Until next time, guys, I love y'all. Peace.